All right, here's what the Patriots offense did in their preseason opener. They scored 9 points and put up just 180 total yards. The Pats were 3 for 12 on third downs and surrendered 3 sacks. Here's Bill Belichick on whether or not the offensive line was to blame.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're, dealing with some injuries on the offensive line, but, the guys that were in there, they got some experience, but, yeah, it was tough for the backs and it was tough for the quarterbacks. So, yeah, we didn't have a lot of space on the offense, for the most part tonight.
So that, for Bill Belichick, by his standards, that's pretty much calling out a unit, saying his backs and quarterbacks didn't have a lot of space. So how bad, Bert Breer, Sports Illustrated, is it up front for the Patriots?
Well, it's hard to take it seriously when he's saying that they're the problem, when he's the one that put the group together. And I think we could all see this coming from a mile away. I mean, look, there's a reason why you got the issues at tackle right now, because you didn't build depth and because you were relying on guys that can't be relied on. Riley Reef because of his age and injuries, and Trent Brown for a myriad of reasons. So what happened on Thursday night was predictable. And again, this is another example. It's not the same as acting like you still have Tom Brady, but it's acting like you still have Dante Scarnecchia, who could turn water into wine habitually with offensive linemen. You don't have that guy anymore. And even if Adrian Clement's pretty good at the job, he's not going to be able to do that.
Well, I'll say the most disturbing thing to me watching the offensive line was the run blocking. And to me, that is fundamentals, that is reps. Now, I don't know if it's because of the lack of padded practices or what, but that was about as bad a job run blocking as I've ever seen from a Patriots line. Is that coaching, padded practices, what? I don't know.
Okay, what'd you see today? Are they already making some changes?
They are making some changes. So Riley Reef, who Bert mentioned, who got about $4 million guaranteed, is now at guard. Now, how long that's going to last, I don't know, but he's never really played there in his career. It looks like they're just trying to find a spot because they're paying him, and they're not going to be able to cut him. They have to get some sort of use out of him, so they moved him in there. Looks like a competition now at right tackle between the rookie, Sidney So, and Connor McDermott, which is not exactly great either. But, look, Trent Brown was more involved today. Cole Strange was out on the field at least. Feels like he's coming back. I was told Mike Onwenu should be back sooner rather than later. So you just got to hope they get healthy and get some reps.
No, again, if it's Brown, Strange, Andrews, Onwenu, from left to right to the right guard spot, that's pretty good.
You can figure out.
Right. And then you make right tackle work.
You can patch it at right if there's just the one spot. If any of those other guys go down, then it starts a domino effect.
Well, my issue is you're really relying on Trent Brown then, because it feels like this whole thing snaps if Trent Brown's out. And I think we sort of saw that on Thursday night. Now, in their defense, no one in the league has offensive line depth. No one. Mm-hmm. So that's why you're seeing like the rookie quarterbacks in Houston and Carolina getting the crap kicked out of them this weekend, because there's some backup offensive linemen out there and no one has any depth at those positions. That said, they're not relying on Trent Williams at left tackle here. They're relying on Trent Brown. And there's a big difference between the two. And, to me, it's more things can go wrong with Trent Brown than a lot of left tackles across the league.
This goes to the crux of the problem. I know I've ranted again, time and time again. But what we saw on Thursday night was a lack of depth on the offense, on the offensive line, at running back, at receiver, all this stuff. Would never, ever happen on defense. That's why the defense looked so good. Why Keon White popped and Christian Gonzalez. Because they're deep all over the place on defense. They can't even field a good starting offensive unit, and that goes to the bias that Bill has, defense over offense.
Investment. And, receiver is also a problem. Tyquan Thornton looked to be pretty shaky here in the first couple weeks, although he had a pretty good game. 2 catches on Thursday. One of them was this highlight reel catch down the sidelines from Bailey Zappi. Thornton has been under much scrutiny after reported bad camp. So you tell me, Bert, does he make the team? Does he make it over Booty and the Douglas kid?
I think they're going to keep high numbers at receiver. Now, I think Tyquan Thornton, two things protect him. Number one is speed, because you just don't find guys that fast. Then number two is draft position. It's hard to let go of a second-round pick after just a year. That said, I think the hidden thing here, and one reason why they might hang on to 6 or even 7 receivers,
7?
Is Juju Smith-Schuster's health. Now, I just went and visited all these teams. I talked to people in Kansas City. They thought his knees were so bad that he wasn't going to be able to play in the Super Bowl. He could barely move around the week of the Super Bowl. It's one of the reasons why they weren't willing to go very far with him financially. And I think that that's the hidden thing here, is that Juju Smith-Schuster's a guy that you're going to be relying on as your slot receiver, and you're not sure what you're going to get from him from a health standpoint with his knee. So that, I think, means Pop Douglas is already on the team as his backup slot receiver. if Juju were to go down, now do you need depth behind Pop? And that's where it's sort of metastasized into, do you keep 6 or 7 receivers? I think that's the position they're in right now.
So Tyquan Thornton is still showing poor fundamentals, getting off the line. He's a beat slow all the time. You can see that with his timing with Bailey Zappi the other day. That's got to get cleaned up quickly. Kayshon Boutte, his film was not good in the game. He was not fast. He was not explosive. That's not really his game, but are you really keeping a possession guy? I think, that spot's up for grabs. Can they do better? It's going to be a tough choice. I don't think he's an automatic on the team. Pop Douglas, definitely on the team.
Okay, not liking what we're seeing at the receiver spot. How about some of those defenders as you're talking about? It was a good start for both of the Pats' top 2 picks. Christian Gonzalez and Keion White each finished with 3 tackles. White also had a big hit that led to a Patriots fumble recovery. The ball was already out, but that helped lead to the recovery. Christian Gonzalez's first play was interesting. He got knocked back about 8 yards by that Texans receiver. But either way, Keion White seemed to be the star of the game. Greg?
Keion White was outstanding in that game. I mean, I don't like to, go too high on a rookie in his first game, but he completely dominated. And it makes you think of how they can use him, who he might displace, things like that. I mean, let's see what he continues to do, but he was incredible. I mean, I had him for 9 impactful plays in 27 snaps, which is unheard of.
So, the cliche, he looks the part.
Yep.
That guy looks the part.
Yeah, and the best part about it is that it reflects, and I haven't been there, but I've talked to people down there, it reflects his first couple of weeks at camp, too, that he's been playing this way on a day-to-day basis, and it manifests itself in a game situation. I think what's so interesting about the first 2 picks here, guys, is both these guys have really, really high-end talent. And the thing about it is the Patriots basically bet on their own background work on those 2 guys. Both guys had personality questions going into the draft. It's one reason why both guys were available to them. And they're betting that their assessment of these guys' personalities is going to wind up getting them players that should be valued above where they were.
Must be nice to have those high draft picks working for you. Maybe the offense could use a few.
Well, one of the reasons also Gonzalez may have dropped his toughness. Off-field toughness was a question, but even on-field, maybe more of a finesse player. And so does this first play concern you, Greg? Or is this just, hey, this ain't the Pac-12 anymore?
A little, but you'll see the assistant coach, or at least you could see it on the coach's film. DeMarcus Covington says, come up here, wrap him up. This is the NFL. It concerns you a little bit. Some of his play was a little soft. That was a nice hit, but that guy pretty much dropped the ball. A little soft, but it's just his first time out. They'll make corrections. How does he do moving forward?